All right, so I just want to talk about the next couple of months. I feel like where we are coming to is a precipice, and we will have, I think, some kind of black swan event. We'll have some interesting sort of times ahead. But one of the main things I think that Trump and the White Hats and these guys are doing right now is to get the rest of the population on board. And so people are asking, when is a big reveal? When are the arrests? When are all these different things going to happen? The truth to come out and all these things. But I think that what's happening in this sort of illusion of this continuity of society, if you want to call it that, based on just everything that's going on. And if you know, we talk about the continuity of government, if you want to call it devolution and just other things. Things are happening behind the scenes because of the Great Steal, because of other things, the elites, the bad guys, and all this stuff. And because of what this facade is that is being portrayed across the world, that there is this election that we have, that this next, 47th president that's coming in, and all this stuff, this sort of landscape that needs to be portrayed, that we need to have people come out and vote and do this. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. We need to go vote. We need to do these things. It still has to be played out for the rest of the population. And so this is why we are seeing all of the debates, we're seeing the rallies, we're just seeing a normal sort of campaign that's being played out so that the rest of the population, or as many people as possible, can see the hypocrisy from the left, they can see the good versus evil, they can see all these things and make the judgment themselves such that they won't need to be pressured, they don't need to be force-fed something else that sounds crazy and conspiracy, because if you are leading them to a natural progression in this, what I call perception of reality, they're waking up, they're seeing it, and then it'll be easier for them to then assimilate into what the rest of us have come to, the conclusion that there is something more than meets the eye, there is this conspiracy, there is this other, alternate, if you want to say, reality behind the scenes that's happening, and they're going to be more susceptible to accepting that, because before everything else happens, the big reveal, the arrests, and all this stuff, you have to have as much of the population as possible to be brought into the fold. And so this is why we're seeing just this natural sort of thing. You're seeing pauses on certain court cases. You're seeing some of the things that are clues and drops and all this sort of, the cue and all that stuff being sort of pushed aside. And yes, there are still these comms and all this stuff, if you want to look into that and everything. But you're just seeing sort of this natural progression of we're having an election, the next president is being elected, and people don't really care about this 45-47. They don't really care about all these other things, because the White Hats and these guys are operating under this facade of, yes, we have an election, we have to push forward, we have to vote, we have to come about. And during that process, there might be other black swan events. There might be stuff that we don't know what's going to happen, right? The delay of this election. I believe the New York Times and some of the other journalists are talking about that the election won't be determined in one night. They have to kind of, go through the next night. And so, again, preparing for this steal, the mail-in ballot stuff and all that, and everything that from 2020 being attempted again on this election. So all of this stuff being said or set up for a reason. And so more people are waking up, and it's a time right now for others to kind of come to the fold, and then for big reveals and other stuff to happen. So this is a real war. It is in some sense scripted. There is this whole movie that's being played out, but at the same time, it has to be done organically, naturally, because there are real enemies. Satan's really working. God, he's sovereign over everything, and there is good that's going to come out of all of this. But at the same time, there is a real war going on, real tactics, real organic enemies that are doing the things that they want to do to take Trump down and the White Hats. So that's why you're seeing all of this media, gaslighting, the censorship, and just people going thick and hard in this information warfare. And so be encouraged. It's a good time. But I think that it's just going to be a little bit messy the next couple of months, and you're just going to see a normal sort of thing play out for society. But many of us that are in audience 3 and we are more awakened, we know something else is going on behind the scenes, and it's being played out in some sense to a T, because it was pre-planned in a sense. So a lot of actors, a lot of people doing their role, their part, even black hats being succumb to whatever the White Hats need them to do. And so this is happening for a big reason. Love you guys. Be encouraged. Talk to you guys very soon.